Connor, you are out at Bruins training camp day 2 officially. Is that correct? Day 2. So
Yep.
we get to see stuff. You get to see actual hockey. Among the things we're trying to track here is who's going to be playing with who. I think it's of massive interest. And one thing we've seen now 2 days in a row is what appears to be the third line taking shape, which would be Erik Haula playing center with Jake Debrusk on his left, Nick Foligno on the right. Of course, Foligno could play, center as well. But this looks to be pretty much what we're going to expect for the third line when the season starts, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at this lineup and all the moves made in the offseason, as much as you can look at all these additions and see all these moving parts and worry about where these guys kind of slot in. Bruce Cassidy on Thursday more or less said that they already have a pretty good idea of where these guys kind of fit in the lineup and where they're envisioning guys. So as much as, we talk about, guys on the roster below making a push, or maybe a guy who's could jump from maybe a fourth line roll up higher up in the lineup. It seems like they already have a plan in place. It's going to be more or less now about making sure they have that chemistry and whether or not they can execute kind of the plan they had this offseason of where these guys fit. So I think definitely a group that you've seen right now that has played together quite a bit during the first few days of camp is that Haula, Foligno, and Debrusk line. And it's definitely, an appealing mix of what you're getting from them. I mean, you've got a guy in Debrusk who we've talked about quite a bit, a guy that is due for a bounce back season. But you look
Badly.
at, yes, absolutely. I mean, you need especially on that line, you need a trigger man, a guy that, again, are we expecting the DeBrusk from 2 years ago where he's a potential 30 goal guy? No, but if he gets back to playing his style of game, if he gives you 15, 20 goals, 40-ish points, that's what you're looking for in the third line. So putting him with a guy in Haula who good two-way guy down the middle, a guy that can drive play, straight line guy, which might fit a little bit better with DeBrusk when compared to maybe a guy like Krejci who likes to control the base a little bit.
Right.
It seems like they're putting the pieces in place, trying to get the most out of DeBrusk, and hopefully a guy like Haula also, improves on what maybe the last couple of years have been, where he's been a little bit up and down with his production.
Yeah, it may be as much about fit, as you said, as it is about just actual talent, and we know we've seen what DeBrusk can do at his best. It's a matter of getting that out of him every night. And last year just didn't seem like he was there for whatever reason. So anything right now would certainly be an improvement over last year, when you're even talking about him being, and getting scratched in the playoffs and just really battling to just stay on that roster. It was a tough go for him. So, we'll see how this combination works out. The other thing is now with Charlie Coyle kind of in the non-contact sweater and not really able to resume the role of the second line pivot here in the absence of David Krejci. We don't know what's going to happen. And this guy has gotten probably more buzz than anybody at camp. Jack Studnicka here came in bigger, came in stronger. Everybody wrote all of those things about him. But, Bruce Butchie said on Thursday, he's in line. He's competing with a series of other people potentially for that spot at the Bruins second line. Your thoughts on that? And again, competing with could just be another way to say, yeah, who knows? Everyone's got a shot here right now until Charlie's ready. But this is an opportunity, I think, here for him to kind of take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at Studnicka, he's definitely has an uphill climb in terms of especially maybe supplanting a guy like Coyle at the second line center spot. Who knows? As much as we've talked about that third line kind of gelling, if Studnicka has a really strong camp, maybe he makes a push for the third line. And, it's a good problem to have, right? If you're bumping a guy like Haula or Foligno further down the lineup to impact the fourth line. So I think you look at Studnicka, and this whole week I think is going to be key for him, because as much as Coyle's out of commission right now, he's still skating. He's in a red non-contact jersey. He's going to be able to get back on the ice and in game settings pretty soon. So for Studnicka, where you've got pretty much 4 preseason games coming up this week, this is the opportunity for him if he's going to be getting reps, and let's say they bring out Hall and Smith, if he's playing against, the Capitals this week or the Flyers, and he puts together a 2-point night or a 3-point night, that's what he needs to do. He can't, be gliding through his shifts by doing the status quo, by not impacting the game when he's got those weapons with him, because this is the time for him to show that he has the offensive skills to, if not fight for that second line spot, at least warrant being in the lineup, because the Bruins could desperately use a guy with his offensive potential in the lineup every day. He needs to show it during this opportunity that he has right now during the preseason.
Yeah, Connor, I totally agree. It's all about making the most of opportunities. And too many of these kind of tweener players, that potential prospects that the Bruins have brought up over time, that's what's happened too often. I think you see flashes, you just don't see it consistently enough. And no one has really kind of grabbed it. And that could be JFK, that could be Anders Bjork. There's so many different names in there where you've rolled in and say, could this be the guy? There's a lot of could this be the guy guys, but so far none of them have proven to be the guy or really had that staying power. So yes, for an organization that does not have a lot of talent coming up the pipeline, they could really use a hit or two. And Studnicka right now appears to be the most likely player to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just look at that offensive ceiling and what he showed, whether it be in junior or in Providence. The talent does pop, and it's all about kind of getting those pieces in place, because the last thing you want is for him, as you said, to kind of be that AHL call that finds himself in that no man's land, right?
The 4A guy, right? Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want that. You want him to be a fourth line guy that chips in, that maybe down the road carves out to be a PK specialist. No, you want a middle six guy that's going to inject offense into your lineup. So if there's a chance for him to do that and make that case, it's probably going to come this week.
Yeah, and too many guys in the system are profiling as bottom of the lineup guys, or just guys who might play in the NHL, not necessarily stick or make an impact. So right now, yes, the hopes rest with Studnicka to maybe be that impact guy. It would be nice to see it this year.